Alisha Lehmann said that she sympathizes with the Spanish national team player Rodri, but as a footballer, let's remember that Alisha is dating Douglas Luiz. She thinks he's the main man on the Spanish national team. Rodri lived in a dormitory and almost ended up playing soccer. Rodri is a key player for Spain at Euro 2024. On the eve of the final, we tell you how a modest boy from an ordinary Madrid family became a star of world soccer. Admired midfielders and studied diligently, Rodri was drawn to soccer from childhood, but he watched his favourite sport in a special way, carefully studying the actions of players. I tried to understand what roles someone had. I was immersed in tactics at such a young age, so now I read the game well, the soccer player told El País. Rodri admired Zinedine Zidane. He even had a t-shirt with the name of the legendary Frenchman. But there were other idols, which is significant. All of them were midfielders: Marcos Senna, Xavi Hernandez, Andres Iniesta, Santi Cazorla and especially Sergio Busquets. According to Rodri, it is they who have instilled in Spain the winning style with which it has won 3 consecutive major tournaments. The future successor of Busquets began his own way in the club Roma Redonda. There, incidentally, he met Theo and Lucas Hernandez, now defenders of the French national team. After a while, Rodri together with them moved to the academy of Atletico Madrid. Already in those years, the young midfielder stood out among his peers. He certainly didn't look like a normal boy of his age, recalled Fran Alcoy, Rodri's coach. Tactically, he was as savvy as possible. It was striking how quickly he understood any instruction. He didn't need to be chewed up several times. I've never had the opportunity to coach someone like him. The aspiring soccer player, by the way, gave his all not only on the practice fields, but also in the classrooms. Rodrigo is a very gifted student. He sat in the front row, listened attentively to the lecturer and asked questions. In terms of grades, he is one of the best in the group. It seems that he is also a good soccer player, said economics teacher Manuel Rodriguez in an interview with Marca. Rodri has always had a thirst for knowledge. As a child, he travelled to the United States and Ireland to learn English. One such trip coincided with the 2010 World Cup. On the day of the final, the group went on a forest walk. Rodri, an ardent supporter of the Spanish national team, was worried he might miss the tournament's main match. I remember exactly where I was. I wasn't even in Spain. I was in the United States. I went to a camp to learn English, like in the movies, Rodri recounted. The group was in the middle of the woods. There was no internet, naturally. I was pressuring the staff. Can we go somewhere to watch the game, please? Rodri recalled. The teenagers still managed to watch the match that day. Almost everyone, except Rodri, was rooting for the Netherlands. But it was he who was jubilant that night. In the second extra time, Iniesta struck Stekelenburg's goal with brisk precision, making the Spanish fans happy. When we scored the goal, I went crazy, said Rodri. Almost finished with soccer and lived in a hostel. Surprisingly, in 2013, the youngster could have finished with soccer. Atletico stopped believing in him and considered him unpromising. Rodri was pointed at the door because of weak physical data. The height of the footballer at that time, 183 centimeters, can hardly be called modest. It was probably muscle mass that was the problem. Fortunately, the talent of the young midfielder recognized in Villarreal and invited to join them. A few years later, Rodri managed to break into adult soccer. Also somewhere around this time he enrolled in the Faculty of Business Administration at the University of Castilla. My father kept repeating that soccer is a lottery and there are no guarantees that you'll get lucky, Rodri explained. I decided I had to get a good education in case things didn't work out. My parents have instilled in me the importance of education since I was a little boy. According to Rodri, he was holding a ball in his right hand and a book in his left. Interestingly, the soccer player was living in a hostel at the time. People were shocked when they saw Rodri, who was playing in the top division but still living in a university dorm, said a dorm mate of the soccer player. He was always different from the other guys, was very professional and studied diligently. Other guys his age were always on their phones. Rodri didn't even seem to have one, said Paco Lopez, who worked with Rodri on Villarreal's second team. Rodri soon became the European under-19 champion. That team was coached by Luis de la Fuente, the current coach of the main national team. In the final, the Spaniards met with the Russian national team, where Barinov and Golovin then lit up. Spain won 2-0, and Rodri came out from the first minutes in the centre of the field in a pair with Mikel Merino. He returned home, but not for long. Rodri quickly progressed and drew the attention of the club, which at one time refused him. In the summer of 2018, Atletico bought his contract for €20 million, and Marca published an article about the newcomer Matrasnicki, putting the main illustration of his photo from the kitchen of the hostel. Rodri once called himself a sponge that absorbs knowledge, and Diego Simeone became an important teacher on his path. The footballer said, "It was Simeone who taught me the importance of the defensive side of my position. What kind of mentality you need to have to be competitive in one-on-one battles, to be strong when the team is having difficulties." Rodri played only a season at his hometown club, although the contract was signed for 5 years. A year later, Manchester City came to the Matrasnicki and paid a sum of €70 million. A telling assessment of his rapid progress helped Guardiola to win the Champions League. Rodri fitted perfectly into the new team, becoming an important cog in Guardiola's system of play. Pep was delighted and admired not only the playing qualities of the newcomer. Often players are similar in life and on the pitch. Their character is transferred to the pitch. Rodri even looks like a midfielder. He's amazing. No tattoos or earrings. And his hair, he has the hairstyle of a holding midfielder. That's what a player of that position should look like. Rodri reminds me of Busquets, noted Pep's assistant Mikel Arteta. Very few are able to read the game at his level, anticipate scenarios, keep mentally fresh throughout the match and literally be a coach on the pitch. There are few such examples. Perhaps even Xabi Alonso and Xavi. It was with Rodri that the English club managed to win the long-eared cup, which constantly slipped out of Guardiola's hands after leaving Barcelona. In 2021, the citizens were as close as possible to winning the Champions League. Pep's team was considered the favourite against Chelsea, but lost after conceding from Kai Havertz. Rodri watched that final from the bench. However, 2 years later, when the Mancunians came close to the cup again, our hero was in the starting lineup. "Most of my teammates have faced the Champions League final before, but not me, and when you do something for the first time, it's different," said Rodri. "At halftime I said to myself, just give everything, don't think too much." In the second half, Rodri turned into the right wave, scored the winning goal. The Spaniard accelerated with lightning speed, received the ball on the edge of the penalty area and shot tightly into the near corner. "The first thing that came into my head when I saw the ball was to hit it hard," Rodri recalled. "I said, look, just hit it and that's it." Probably the acceleration behind that ball was the fastest I've ever been in my life. Rodri's goal remained the only one in that encounter. The Manchester City players finally lifted the coveted trophy they had been chasing for so many years. Rodri said that he had watched the winning goal 500 times.